You're listening to Veronica by Elizabeth Whitehead Jennings.
Chapter 7. The Unexpected Revelation. Part 2. Fractures and Secrets. It started with a twitch, low in her belly, just under the ribs. A soft ripple, almost like a muscle flexing from deep within. Veronica froze. She was standing by the kitchen counter, mindlessly wiping down a surface that was already clean. It wasn't gas. It wasn't a cramp. She'd been having a lot of both recently, her stomach a constant knot of distress, churning through anxiety and sparse meals. But this was different. She knew the difference now. This was a movement external to her will. It was subtle, internal, deep within her and undeniable. It happened again. A slow, deliberate flutter. Then stillness. A vast, unnerving silence inside her. She pressed her palm to the exact spot, reaching inward with her mind. Felt nothing at first. Then, deep inside, far from the surface, she felt motion, small and deep. A tiny, yielding pressure. Alive. Her mouth went dry. She stood up, her heart hammering, and looked down at herself. Her oversized gray hoodie hung loosely around her frame. But lately, she'd started to feel it again. The fabric didn't drape the way it used to. Her body wasn't shrinking anymore. In the weeks after the assault, Veronica had lost weight without trying. She'd barely eaten. The change in her was undeniable, but she was functionally invisible. Her mother, Christina, simply didn't register the details. Christina noticed only that Veronica was quiet. Christina did comment once, "You look better. You're eating again, at least." Veronica just shrugged in response. And maybe that was why no one noticed what was really happening underneath. Not even her. She had convinced herself that the exhaustion, the nausea, the tightness in her jeans, it was all grief, all trauma. But the flutter had ripped that camouflage away. It wasn't a symptom of something ending. It was a sign of something beginning. She bought the test the next afternoon from the corner pharmacy, right around the corner from Holy Space. It had a self-checkout. She bought 2 of them, along with a gallon of water. She walked like her legs weren't attached to her. The weight of what might be waiting didn't feel real yet. She took the test back to Holy Space, her secret sanctuary. The little bathroom was dark and dusty. There was no electricity, no running water, but she locked the door anyway. She poured most of the water into the toilet tank to make it functional. Veronica took the test in silence, staring at the wall as she waited. It didn't take long. 2 pink lines. Pregnant. The second test was just as quick. She didn't even sit down. She just stood there staring at the little plastic window. She wasn't shocked. It was more like a door slowly creaking open in her mind. She'd convinced herself the symptoms were all grief, all trauma. But this wasn't grief. This was someone. A beginning. She lowered herself onto the closed lid of the toilet. The seat wobbled. It was missing a screw. There were no tears, just a strange, heavy warmth settling in her chest. It wasn't panic. Not yet. It was something else. A surrender. That night, Veronica opened her journal. She didn't write anything. She drew. A baby. She turned the page and drew another. This one had eyes open, smiling. She stared at the page and whispered, almost like a secret, "Mine." She hadn't imagined it this way. Not this young, not this soon. Not like this. But the moment she let the word baby settle in her mind, it came with the barest hint of wonder. She started noticing her body again. The soft swell below her stomach that couldn't be denied. The way her bra didn't quite fit anymore. The initial weight loss had acted as a perfect camouflage. Now, as her body slowly returned to health, it carried truth with it. The next day, she passed the baby aisle in the corner store on Main Street. She wasn't planning to buy anything, but she stopped. She chose one with tiny stars on it, and then another. A pack of diapers, a canister of formula. 2 soft blankets, one of them yellow. She didn't use the credit card Christina gave her for day-to-day expenses. She used the cash she earned babysitting over the summer. She didn't bring the baby things home. Christina had been watching her more closely lately. So instead, she carried the small bag into Holy Space. She tucked it behind one of the old, heavy folding chairs she always sat on. No one else came there. It was hers, a sanctuary. And for now, so was the secret. She didn't tell Jeffrey. He was her best friend. But she couldn't find the words. Telling him about the baby meant telling him about Thomas. And Thomas was Jeffrey's older brother. The man who had attacked her was family to the person she needed most. Worse, she felt the crushing doubt. Would he even believe her? She couldn't be sure if he would trust her word over his brother's blood. He kept texting, waving, waiting. But she wasn't in that world right now. Christina was cooking more, drinking less. She was trying. She left sticky notes on the fridge. "Heat this up. Save me some. You okay?" Veronica appreciated them, but she hadn't told her either. That night she returned to Holy Space. It felt different now. A future place. She sat on her usual folding chair, pulled her journal from her backpack. She drew a new one, rounder cheeks, eyes wide and unafraid. Then quietly, she whispered, "I want you." At home, her mother, Christina, was asleep on the couch again. Veronica turned off the screen, then stood in the doorway for a long time, watching her breathe. She didn't know how to begin. But she knew this much. She couldn't do this alone. She climbed into bed and pulled the journal onto her lap. Drew a baby swaddled in a blanket. Just the shape. Then she closed her journal and set it aside. Tomorrow, she'd tell Mom. She lay back in bed and stared at the ceiling. The baby moved again, just once. She rested her hand against the gentle curve of her stomach. She tried one more version aloud, barely a whisper against the pillow. "Mom, I'm pregnant." It felt strange in her mouth. She had named the future. She closed her eyes.
But then came the nightmare that changes everything.